Yes, greetings, greetings, greetings. Greetings to our flavonoids, carotenoids, terpenes, phenols, sterols, and those things from nature. Now, why did I just name those things from nature? Because those things from nature correspond with colors. They all have their own colors. They're all different chemical compounds that the body make up. But I thought that would be fitting to start this conversation out. So, those things represent color because my topic is actually color, and it's a melanated color. So, do black people support other black people's business? I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to say no. And here's why. So, black people generally support black people's business, but it's not like you think. So, from what I see, you generally have more small black businesses than more big black businesses. The barbecue man, the guy out there selling his water, his Gatorade, somebody hustling, selling their little food out their house. There's a lot of those. Somebody got some bomb wings, some barbecue, man, them grits, make you a good breakfast, all of that. So there's a lot of those out there. But the Fortune 500 black company is not too much. So why does that matter? That matters because black people do support black people's business, because you know somebody that is melanated and you go to that spot every Friday night because they got the best barbecue. That's a black owned business. You're supporting that. You are also knowing that when you're in the hair salon, it's always somebody coming up in there trying to hustle something, trying to juggle something, trying to sell something at a discount. You just supported a black business. You might have heard of some crazy guy that did some crazy stuff for your friend and it worked, and you're like, man, that's crazy. I wonder what he could do for me. And now you go to that guy by way of referral to your friend, and now you're supporting a black business. You generally don't find too much black-owned supermarkets, black-owned stadiums, black-owned construction companies that is big in black-owned areas. You might find one or two or few, but the rest of the other small businesses, they're all over the place, from morning till night. You know a black-owned lunch truck that serves breakfast, lunch, and you might even go into dinner, and you're supporting that business. You might know a herbalist such as myself, and I don't think it's necessarily because I'm around a black area, because this area have everybody. We're here in Florida, Fort Lauderdale. You got a whole bunch of Jamaicans, Haitians, you got Dominican, you got Cubans, you got Europeans, You got American Caucasians. You got people from Venezuela all over the place. So it's a whole bunch of mixed stuff. So roughly, you might get a whole bunch of different people trying your stuff. But if you're an herbalist and you get a lot of your work through referrals, usually it's black people that is supporting your business the most. Why? Because maybe you have a better chance to go in those neighborhoods and do business with low rent, easy accessibility, not so much red tape, and so on. Meanwhile, everybody know in the more affluent areas, there's more taxes, there's more rent, everything costs more. Just that alone will keep you away from that area. And as a matter of fact, do you have the product that is unique? Because if you have that same product and somebody else have that product, you better not be known as one of them people that is out there like that. You got to stay humble. So case in point, you're in a Caucasian area, or predominantly Spanish, Caucasian, and not too much blacks, and you're a Jamaican restaurant, you might be able to thrive in that environment because you're a rarity. Now, if you have a whole bunch of them popping up all over the place, you might have an issue with that. And the reason being is people like to try new and exotic stuff all the time. So yes, if you go in a Caucasian neighborhood, a white neighborhood, or a Spanish neighborhood, and you're a Jamaican store, and you start introducing your different stuff, this is my culture. This is my jerk chicken. This is my oxtail. This is my curry goat. This is my curry chicken. This is my bami. This is my fried fish. This is my escovitch fish. And you start showing that culture, yes, I believe you will be unique and rare in the environment, so you will get a lot of business because there's not too much of you around. And if you make some real good stuff from your culture, trust me, you'll have them coming back. They might not come there all the time, but they will come back for that exotic, because they still might be used to their pasta and their spaghetti and filet mignon and all that. But every now and then they might need a fried fish. Every now and then they might need some oxtail. And every now and then, they thought they would own a goat as a pet, but now they're eating the goat, a curry goat. So long story short, you have most of those businesses that are small that are being supported by black people. The bigger ones now, by default, they are not majority. They are not supported by black people. Why? Because those bigger companies, they usually work with other companies. And when I say other companies, it don't necessarily have to be black-owned companies. It could just be a company that could need their service, or they could do something, work out a deal, because I have a product, you have a product, and we can work it out. Or they could do stuff like get government contracts, where I don't need that little money right now. Let that money circulate and do what it needs to do, because I got bigger fish to fry. So by default, since black people don't run the government, yeah, we might work in it, might participate in voting, all of this, know the ins and out, yeah. Don't run it. So that's why I say yes and no. As far as that goes. Now, adversely, we have a 1.6 trillion with a T. $1.6 trillion spending power. That's more than Jamaica's budget for the year, Haiti, and the rest of the Caribbean nations, and they still didn't get there yet. And a couple of different other nations. That's like 15 nations' money. And we have that spending power. So now, don't do that boycott shit. That don't make sense. Don't do that boycott where you don't spend with other business. No. You spend with your own first. Instead of spending with everybody first, and then the little bit that's left over, then you might be able to throw your own people some chump change. How about you reverse that and start prioritizing our people first, your people first. Now, why do I say that? Let's say it could be for employment reasons. Let's say I, as a black-owned business, is getting a lot of black support that support me. Don't you think that's going to help me to scale up, get the business bigger? Don't you think that is going to have me be able to employ more of my own people? Don't you think that the tax write-offs that I will get will actually benefit my company and the people? There's many benefits to building yourself, because you might think you up here one day, and that same business that you supported, when you crash and fall, maybe they're the ones who are gonna give you a job until you get back on your feet. But some people don't think that way though. What if you had helped that business right there to stay in business by supporting it? You know you're gonna go get canned beans anyways. Go get it over there first. You know you're gonna get barbecue anyways. Get it right there. You know you need some good health juices and shakes and detoxes anyways. Get it right there. Guess what that just did? That just put that person in place for a person that was up here, that when they boom, fall and come down to this level, they at least have a shot to go over here and say, you know, I've been coming here for years as far as eating your food, but your food is good, and I would like to know if I could be able to be involved in this establishment and get a job. For all you know, because you supported that, your creator blessed you by letting that be there for you to now go back and support you when you need something to help you to get back on your feet. Nobody's on top forever. And yeah, it might feel good to be on top. But have you ever wondered about those little things, you know, those little small things called a rainy day? Or, you know, that little simple thing that's called Murphy's Law? You know, the shit that says what can happen well? That you didn't prepare for when you was up here? You didn't put aside the little bit, the little chump that you could put aside, the one that you could afford not to miss? So what do I mean, put aside what you can afford not to miss? Let's say you're working $750 a week, and you can afford to miss $50 for the week. So now you have $700 to go pay your bills and do whatever, and that's just like forget money. When I say forget, that means you're saving, but you're not touching unless it's to make an investment to bring the money up. So let's say you do that 4 times for the month. So that's $750 that you made for the month. I mean for a week. Turns to $1,500 every 2 weeks, and now that's $3,000 every month. And that $50 that you took out every time for those 4 weeks add up to $200. So you just literally took $200 out of $3,000, what you can afford not to miss. Oh, that's just a little $200. Of course, I can put that aside. All right, it'll be there for a rainy day. And go do your thing that you normally would do. When you're up here, that's called getting prepared for a rainy day, just in case. I'm wishing for the best, but I can prepare just in case anything happens. And not only that, I'll have a stash to use as an investment fund instead of digging into my regular stash when I'm up here. Because if I can put this little couple of bucks that it don't hurt this, away over here, and that builds up, it's going to build up to a certain point where now I can take it and make a killing real quick. I can take it and get a vehicle and start Ubering my vehicle out and start making my money that way. That's just an example. And now I didn't even touch this. This is still doing what I've always been doing. I just threw away the little chump change and forgot about it. I know that if I needed it, I can always go back and get it, but it has to be an emergency. I'm not just going to take it to spend it because I mess up this one over here. No, I can mess up this one over here, but I can't mess with that one right there. That's the rainy day money. I guess that's why the average family before COVID and before these times, if an emergency happened, they did not have the ability to go get $500 real quick. Millions of people. Why? Because everybody is trying to party and try to eat out and trying to live a vacation life and trying to do all of this spending and no saving. Not even the little $5 that you can afford. Let the herbalist give you his perspective on that also, because this channel is about health. And financial health is still health. So let the herbalist tell you what he did. When I was working, what I did was, I used to get my regular paycheck, and I would keep that for the bills that I'm spending and everything else. And I would take the money from the overtime and, throw that little chump change right there and forget about it. I did that for about a year. I ended up with about $8,000-$9,000. I did that for a year straight. And I didn't even have to touch my regular paycheck. I was doing what I was doing. I just made sure I took some overtime and put that money to the side, that rainy day money. Not only did I do that, I also started a dollar drawer. Now, most people don't know what a dollar drawer is. It could be $1, it could be $5, it could be $10, it could be $20, it could be $50. It's a dollar drawer. You just pick which dollar it is. So what the dollar drawer is, from the herbalist perspective, is the drawer that you go to instead of going to the bank after you mess up your money. Now, what do I mean? Now, while I'm out there spending, let's just use the dollar for an example. While I'm out there spending, I know I'm gonna have to break something and get back at least $2 or $4. So I would compile those dollars, and every day I come home, I would take those dollars out, put them in my dollar drawer. Keep the rest on me. When I get paid and everything, even if it's a dollar coin, put it in the dollar drawer. Do that for over a period of time. So now, it's the holiday time. It's also rent time. So that means, yeah, you went to go cash your check on Friday, but an emergency came up the other day and you're short on your money, but your rent is due. Guess what the herbalist did after, those little chump change, those little dollars, and I was short on the rent? I went and dig in my dollar drawer and paid my rent. Yes, I did. Now let me tell you another thing that the herbalist did. All of this was going on concurrently at the same time. I also had a 5-gallon container, the ones that they use to get the water. Do I have one around here? Give me a second. Something a little like this. Yes, something like this 5-gallon container. Okay. So what you show is the 5-gallon container, man. What does this have to do with financial health? I mean, damn. What am I going to do? Drink the money? No. What you're going to do is also remember that change. You know that pocket change? That's also money. And it needs a home. So every day when the herbalist comes home, and whatever money I spend out there and I get change back, my change is going to go in here. And if you're really smart about it, you can have 3 or 4 of them. One for dime, one for nickel, one for quarter, one for dollar coins, one for pennies, whatever. Probably don't even need the one for pennies, but that's still money also. But anyways, I digress. So you take the change in your pocket and you put in one of these bottles. And let's say you do that for a year or so. And let's say this bottle is this big and your change only came up to here on the bottle. Only to about here. Let's say about here. So you see how big the bottle is? And the money came up to about here. So every evening you come home, you empty your pockets of the change and you throw it in here, and you do that for a year and it comes up to about here. So, what am I saying that? I'm mainly saying that because you see when those emergencies come up that you didn't expect, and now you need to go grab something from somewhere where you don't have it. This was it. When I went to the bank, got some coin rolls, come back, roll them myself, count them out myself, I had $1,067 of just pocket change. Doing it on a repetitive motion and not touching it. $1,067 of pocket change because I came home every evening and just emptied my pocket into this thing. Why is that important? Suppose I wasn't doing that before. Suppose when I was up here, I wasn't thinking about the chump change. Suppose when I was up here, I didn't think about the rainy day. that the chump change possibly could have done something with had I just put what I can afford to forget aside. It's always best that I see to put what you can afford to not miss aside, because whenever the good days are happening and you keep putting away that little chump change, it will add up. So if God forbid something happen where you come from here to here and you might have to dig for that chump change, it was actually a good investment. Now conversely, you're still here and you're putting that chump change there for 2 or 3 years. And even though you're still here, you're like, I wonder how much is there. Do you know for the 2-3 years you can save anywhere from $3,000 to $6,000 of chump change in something like this for a couple of years? Do you know that if you go cash out that chump change and you get your $6,000, do you know that you can now take that $6,000 and invest that in something that's going to double your money? And it all started with chump change? Think about it. We support each other just like this. The little bit of chump change grows up and mature and become powerful. So that chump change, all of that chump change represents all of us individually building, growing, and becoming a force with that $1.6 trillion spending power. All that chump change that was in here probably was a couple of thousand pieces of coin that add up to $1,067. So now, you're trying to tell me that we have a couple of million people, us melanated people, we have a couple of million people? About 45 to 50 million, if not more, people in this that is melanated in this country? And our spending power is $1.6 trillion? And we are financially deficient? And we don't have our own stuff? Hold on. Let me think out loud again. We have about 45 million people. The million is representing the pieces of coins that was in here. That add up to $1.6 trillion spending power, which add up to to how much the coins were in here. And you don't think if you were supporting your own people first, instead of giving them the little chump change, you don't think if you were supporting your people first, you don't think that $1.6 trillion spending power would actually be able to raise us up and get us out of where we are right now? I don't believe that either. I believe all it takes is a slice of that cake. It don't take the 1.6 trillion. No, just give me a little slice. Listen, it's all there for everybody. Just give me my slice, okay? So if my slice is 20% or my slice is 40%, I'm cool with that. I don't have to have the whole 1.6 trillion, but how much percent is being injected into our community, into our business, of that $1.6 trillion spending power? It might be 5%. And that's not an opinion. Look it up. Now think about what I just said. If we were spending and prioritizing spending and supporting ourselves first, we wouldn't need anybody else for nothing. But since our spending power is $1.6 trillion, and that was more than the U.S. budget, by the way, for every year. So that means we actually have more spending power than the U.S. government. And you see how powerful the U.S. government is going around the world, having aircraft carriers, all different type of stuff. Spacecraft, all of that didn't add up to $1.6 trillion. And we're doing that in 1 year. Every year. Maybe it's me, but something is not looking right with that. I think we need to reassess on ourselves. I think we need to understand that when we invest in ourselves, we invest in ourselves. I don't think we get that yet. So do I think black people support black people's business? Yes. Do I think they support it